I've been trying to find the perfect servo. The size and shape of this servo is ubiquitous because of how convenient it is, but with so many options out there, it can be hard to know what you're getting. The main thing I'm looking for is something quick and quiet, because nothing ruins the illusion of a realistic animatronic like the screeches and grinding of cheap, nasty servos. So it should be a dead simple test, right? Just run the servos and measure how loud they are. The first thing for me to nail down was any rattling or movement, so I made this universal servo mount for the different sizes and hole spacings I wanted to test. And then I screwed it down to the workbench. My first thought was to use a microphone connected to my PC to get an average reading of the audio level and convert that into decibels. I didn't think it would be very accurate as such, but I only needed it to be repeatable so I could compare the relative noise levels between servos. Spoiler alert, it wasn't repeatable. The audio levels keep jumping up and down. Something in this chain of transmitter to receiver to PC to browser window kept automatically adjusting the gain every time a servo moved, and eventually I just gave up. I would need to use a real decibel meter. While I waited for that to arrive, I decided to fix something that's been bothering me. You'll see that in most of my animatronic designs, I just 3D print a hole that's roughly the shape of the servo spline and shove it on. It's a press fit, but depending on the filament and how much work this servo does, the metal teeth on the servo just chew through that plastic over time. On the other hand, the horns which come with the servos aren't a press fit, but they actually mesh with every one of the teeth, so they last a lot longer. So why not just use the servo horn that comes with the servo? Well, every manufacturer seems to have a different size and shape for these things, and sometimes if I'm working with gears or wanting to actuate something really small, none of these horns are actually useful shapes. And so I present this. It's a servo spline adapter. The idea is that this stays on the servo permanently, and then my 3D printed parts connect to this over the top of this with a screw going through both parts. These teeth are too small to print on an FDM printer, so I'm printing these on the Formlabs Form 4. Now, I didn't have the best start with resin printing. Some of you might remember I made a big deal about getting my first resin printer for my bionic arm project. I bought quite an old machine that was messy, sticky, and generally a bit of a pain, so I kind of fell out with resin until Formlabs offered to give me a go on this. Now, I thought really carefully about how to design this adapter, and since it's really important to me to have a design which can be standardized, I started by looking at screw heads and driver bits, since they're designed to transmit rotational force just like I need. Although I had a lot of options, the best choice was actually pretty clear from the start. It's the Torx bit. One of the main limiting factors of FDM printing is that it will always struggle to make sharp internal corners, so shapes like a hexagon, a D shaft, and a square bit are all a bad choice. Parts with thin sections like Phillips, flathead would have been easy to break, and the Torx bit is probably the most resistant to stripping the teeth of any of the designs. So that's why I thought it would make the perfect interface between a robust injection molded part and a softer FDM printed part, and that's what I used on my servo spline adapter. This machine is not like my first resin printer. It's honestly a pleasure to use. I don't even have to pour out the resin I want to use because it measures out the exact amount it needs and mixes it up itself, so my hands don't need to go anywhere near the uncured resin. My eventual goal is to have this part injection molded, and not only would FDM printing not have been able to make these teeth, but the material properties wouldn't really hold up either. So I used Formlabs Tough 1500 resin, which is comparable to injection molded polypropylene in its final strength. And the difference is night and day. I thought about making a jig to measure the force at which it would break, but honestly it's just plain to see. So here's the original press fit design. If I just apply a little bit of force here, get it to its end point, and then it's gone already. The teeth have more or less completely worn away. If I do the same thing with this, get it to its end point, so it's actually skipping internal teeth. So the gears inside the servo failed before my adapter, which isn't always actually the best design decision. Sometimes you want an easily replaceable part to fail before something harder to replace, but in this case, this is exactly what I want. Right, back to my servos. I got my super accurate high-tech decibel meter for £10 on Amazon, and I set up my station. I took 3 readings each at a slow, medium, and fast sweeping speed. Some servos get much louder the faster they move. And what were the results of my investigation? Well, first off, it's clear that nobody is designing these for quietness. There is no correlation of quietness with cost, max speed, max torque, or even metal versus plastic gear. The only correlation was that the faster you run a servo, the louder it is. The quietest servo I found, which was a sensible price, yes, some of these servos are crazy expensive, was the Tiancong RC TS90MD. Interestingly, there isn't really anything special about this design. About its construction, there's no bearing, a standard DC motor, and it kind of just looks the same as all the others, but it does seem to magically be quiet and pretty fast too. Now get all this shite off my desk. So to bring everything together, I started to use the TS90MD servos to build an animatronic eye mechanism that I hoped would be a lot quieter. I also wanted to try using shoulder bolts rather than 3D printed joints to test how much steadier it would feel and try to eliminate some of the play the original joints had. And then halfway through the build, I noticed something. Can you hear how that's quite a lot louder? In this case, the table is acting as an amplifier, and in the same way, the entire mechanism and the design of the housing is strongly affecting the noise that the servo makes. Using a foam pad, if I screwed it to the right height, I was able to get a noise reduction of around 5 decibels, which in noise-sensitive projects I think is pretty substantial. So even though this noise test was relatively inconclusive, now that I have all of these servos, I think I will do some more tests in the future to validate some of the manufacturer's claims about speed and torque, and try to get an idea of which ones are the most repeatable, the lowest jitter, the most accurate. If you want to read the full results, I've left a link to the spreadsheet in the description, but to try and summarize my findings and the feeling that I got from each of these servos, I made a quick tier list, which is strongly based on vibes and my own personal feelings. Don't take this too seriously. We're going to start with the TS90MD. It won the competition. It is very quiet for its price and it seems pretty well made, so it has to be an S. TauPro SG90. This is the servo that everyone knows. Does it deserve the level of fame that it has? I'm not sure. It's going in B. Musi MG90S or MF90. These are the servos that I used in my robotic head. They seem just like a modern, updated version of the MG90S. I really like them. Ternigine TG9D. This is another good one. It performed well on my test, it's pretty quiet, and it gives pretty good quality too. It's going in A. Corona DS939MG. This is a noisy servo, to be fair. But there's something about it I like. Maybe it's the construction. I don't know, I just feel like I'm in good hands with a Corona servo, purely based on vibes. Here's one that I need to do more research into. DSS006L with a clutch. If it goes over torque, it actually disengages to stop the teeth from breaking. I need to do some more research to figure out if that's true or not and how well it works. Jury's out. I'm gonna put it between B and A. Fitec FS90MG. It's pretty good. It's a good servo. It doesn't gag me particularly. Hextronic HXT900. I think this has some historical relevance that I don't know about, goes off my head. I think people like it, or maybe used to like it. I have no strong feelings on it. It's going in C. KST DS215MG. Now this is a servo. I love the casing. I love how it feels, I love how it sounds. It's going in S. OCS servo. This is a very highly optimized, very small, compact and efficient servo. I just don't like when the motor hangs out like this, especially when the wires are exposed. I know they've done that to make it as small as possible, which I do appreciate. I also don't really like the hole spacing on the mounting flanges. So while it does perform very well, I am gonna actually put it in B. Hitec HS55. Again, I don't have the most experience. It's kind of boring. It's going in B. Surpass servos. I don't know what these are designed for. They are heavy, they're big, they're loud, and they're not particularly fast or strong. I guess they're very tough. Maybe that's what they're designed for. Sorry, Surpass. Futaba S3114. It's very cute. I like it. I like the design. PTK, again, haven't tested it extensively, but I like it. It feels very robust. I like the housing design. It's not quiet, so it's going in A. Now, Servo HV06. This has to be in S. With that red anodized aluminium case, and it is so tiny. I love it, it's great. And finally, the AGFRC A11CLS. This was my favorite servo that I tested. The casing is gorgeous, the size is tiny, it's strong, it's fast, it costs a fortune, and it's quiet. This goes to the top of S tier. So what did we learn here? First off, I think the most important factor for making your servos quieter is housing. Making sure that if you want quietness, you want as little of the servo housing itself to be in contact with the mechanism, and using something like a foam pad or rubber spacer will drastically reduce the noise that it makes. This was the first step in getting Cogler, my robotic pet, ready for fulfillment. I want to get every component and every line of code bomb-proof before we ship. A massive thank you to everyone who supported my Kickstarter, which is still open by the way for backers, and of course a huge thank you to my patrons who get to enjoy full access to the parametric CAD models and design history of all my past, present and work in progress projects, including this one and the Servo spline adapter. A big thank you for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.